For thousands of years, humanity has asked the same question in whispers, in prayers, and in the silence of lonely nights. What happens after we die? Do we simply cease to exist, or is there something beyond the veil? A place, a light, a continuation? Plato, the ancient Greek philosopher, believed the soul was immortal, a prisoner temporarily bound to the body. In his dialogue Phaedo, he wrote that death was not an end, but a liberation. According to him, the soul existed before birth and would continue after death, journeying through realms beyond human understanding. He described life as a shadow of a higher, more real existence, and death as a return to that truer realm. The body was merely a vessel, and the senses, distractions. The real truth, Plato said, could only be glimpsed once the soul was freed from the noise of physical life. Centuries later, the inventor Thomas Edison reportedly believed in something similar, though through the lens of science. In the final years of his life, Edison hinted at the idea that consciousness might not be tied solely to biology. He even spoke of a device, a spirit phone, that he imagined could pick up the frequencies of those who had passed on. While there is debate about how serious he was, one cannot ignore his persistent fascination with unseen forces, energy, light, and vibration, all things that, in a way, transcend death itself. I do not believe we live only for today, Edison is quoted as saying. There is more than we yet understand. Carl Jung, the father of analytical psychology, had a profound interest in the afterlife. He didn't claim to have answers, but he described death as a process of transformation. Jung once wrote that the psyche, what we often call the soul, might not be bound by the laws of space and time. He spoke of archetypes, of the self, of a deeper layer of the unconscious that connects all human beings. In one of his later reflections, Jung described a near-death experience he had after a heart attack. He saw the earth from space, encountered symbols beyond words, and returned with the sense that death was not an end, but a passage, one that the soul is deeply familiar with. What happens after death is so unspeakably glorious that our imagination and our feelings do not suffice to form even an approximate conception of it, he once said. Then there was Nikola Tesla, often misunderstood, often romanticized, yet undeniably brilliant. Tesla believed that everything in the universe could be reduced to energy, frequency, and vibration. He once said, "If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration." Though he rarely spoke directly about the soul, his obsession with invisible forces hinted at a deeper view of life, that we are not just flesh and blood, but oscillating energy, resonating with something greater. If consciousness has a frequency, then perhaps it never truly dies. It simply changes form. What's fascinating is that these great minds, from different eras and disciplines, all seem to converge on one simple but staggering idea, that death is not the end. Whether through philosophy, psychology, electricity, or energy, they each pointed to something beyond the visible, something hidden yet deeply felt. They all knew something, or at least they sensed it. And maybe, so do we. If the soul truly exists, then what is it? Is it memory, energy, awareness, or something far beyond language and form? For millennia, humans have attempted to define the indefinable. Some see the soul as the divine spark within, others as the observer behind the eyes, the silent presence watching our thoughts, our joys, our fears. And yet, no matter how we describe it, we all feel that there's something within us that cannot be reduced to bone and brain. Something that dreams, remembers, longs, and continues. Carl Jung believed that the soul was not merely personal, but part of something collective, something ancient, vast, and timeless. He wrote that the deeper layers of our psyche are not born with us, but have always existed. They speak to us in symbols, in dreams, in moments of profound silence. According to Jung, when we die, we return not into darkness, but into the mystery from which we came, into the self, the eternal wholeness beyond time. He once reflected that death might feel less like an ending, and more like waking up from a long dream. Plato, too, saw life as a shadow. He believed that everything we see here, every tree, every face, every sorrow, is merely a reflection of something more real, more perfect on the other side. In that sense, death is not to be feared, but welcomed, like a return home. According to Plato, the soul forgets where it came from the moment it enters a body. But it remembers in flashes, in beauty, in love, in the search for truth. And at death, it remembers fully. Nikola Tesla, though not a spiritual teacher in the traditional sense, offered another kind of vision, one rooted in the language of energy and vibration. He believed that the universe was a grand symphony, and we were all part of its music. If our essence is energy, and energy cannot be destroyed, then perhaps death is only a change in rhythm. Tesla's work was grounded in science, but his vision was poetic. He once hinted that everything, even thought, has a frequency. And if thought can travel beyond space, who is to say the soul cannot? Thomas Edison, who spent his life chasing light, may have stumbled upon a truth far greater than electricity. In his later years, he wondered whether the consciousness we experience is a field, something not confined to the body, but received by it, like a signal. He imagined, not with dogma but with curiosity, that those who pass on might continue to exist in a form we cannot yet detect. His speculative spirit phone may have been more metaphor than machine, a symbol of our longing to connect beyond the veil. So what do we make of all this? These were not mystics or prophets, but thinkers, inventors, pioneers of reason. And yet, each in their own way, they reached for the invisible, towards something they couldn't measure, but deeply sensed. Not one of them claimed to know the full truth, but all of them, with open minds and open hearts, stood at the edge of mystery and whispered, "There is more." Perhaps that's what the soul truly seeks, not certainty, but meaning, not answers, but connection. And perhaps the afterlife is not a place, but a state, a return to the ocean from which all consciousness arises. In the moments near death, many people report feelings of peace, of light, of being surrounded by love. They speak of hearing music with no source, of seeing beauty beyond form, of meeting something or someone that feels more like home than anything on earth. What if that light is not something ahead of us, but already within us? What if this life is just one note in a much longer melody, one breath in the infinite rhythm of existence? And what if death is not a loss, but a remembering? In the quiet hours, when the world slows down and our hearts grow still, many of us feel it, a soft presence, a calling, a sense that we are not alone, that we never were. The soul does not shout. It whispers. It waits. It shines. So let us not fear the unknown. Let us instead walk toward it with the courage of those who came before us, thinkers, dreamers, seekers of light. Let us listen to what they left behind, in words and in silence. Because maybe, just maybe, they all knew something. And maybe, deep down, so do we.